Here are wrist strength exercises for rheumatoid arthritis. Welcome or welcome back to Age Fit with Tess. My name is Tess Halbauer, Physiotherapist. Reduced wrist strength is a common consequence of rheumatoid arthritis, impacting everyday function. Wrist strength exercises can be helpful to maintain and build strength in the hands and wrists for those with rheumatoid arthritis. By the end of this video, you are going to know how to complete 7 wrist strength exercises for rheumatoid arthritis. And this video forms part 3 of the hand exercises for rheumatoid arthritis series, linked at the end of this video and in the description. Let's get started. The first exercise is wrist flexion. Wrist flexion is the action of bending your wrist. Holding the band taut with your left hand, bend your right wrist to stretch the band. Repeat 8 times. Wrist flexion works 6 wrist flexor muscles that run along the inside of the forearm. Wrist flexion is involved in many functional activities of the wrists, including writing, using a knife and fork, and buttoning up a shirt. Again, with the band taut, bend at your wrist. The second exercise is wrist extension. Wrist extension is the action of extending your wrist backward. Holding the band taut with your left hand, extend your right wrist to stretch the band. Repeat 8 times. Wrist extension is involved in many functional activities of the wrists, including typing on a keyboard, using a mouse, and brushing your hair. Again, with the band taut, extend at your wrist. The third exercise is ulnar deviation. Ulnar deviation is the action of moving your hand toward your ulnar bone. Holding the band taut with your left hand, bend your wrist sideways to bring your 5th or pinky finger toward your forearm. Repeat 8 times. The fourth exercise is radial deviation. Radial deviation is the action of moving your hand toward your radius bone. Holding the band taut with your left hand, bend your hand sideways to bring your thumb toward your forearm. Repeat 8 times. The 5th exercise is supination. With the band tied around a rod like a hammer or stick, holding the rod with your right hand and holding the band taut with your left, turn your hand out so your palm faces up. Repeat 8 times. Again, holding the band taut with your left hand, turn your right hand out so your palm faces up. The 6th exercise is pronation. Pronation is the movement of turning your hand so your palm faces down. Holding the rod with your right hand and holding the band taut with your left hand, turn your right hand in. Repeat 8 times. Pronation works the pronator teres and pronator quadratus muscles. The 7th exercise is ball squeeze. Holding a soft ball or rolled up towel in your right hand, squeeze your hand into the ball. Repeat 8 times. Ball squeeze works the muscles in your hand and wrist involved in grip strength. Grip strength is used for functional activities like opening the lid on a jar, carrying a grocery bag, and holding a knife for chopping. Repeat with your left hand. Starting with wrist flexion, holding the band taut with your right hand, bend your left wrist to stretch the band. In general, typical aims of exercise for those with rheumatoid arthritis of the wrists includes managing pain and joint stiffness, maximizing range of motion, and maintaining or building strength. The aim of resistance band exercises is to build strength. This video forms part 3 of the hand rheumatoid arthritis series, linked in the description and at the end of this video. Continuing with wrist extension. When developing an exercise plan with rheumatoid arthritis, an important consideration is the addition of contingency time. This is time that is built into an exercise plan to allow for exacerbation of symptoms where rest or reduced activity might be required. This allows goals to be met within a realistic time frame. Moving on to ulnar deviation. Holding the band taut with your right hand, bend your left wrist sideways to bring your 5th or pinky finger toward your forearm. When completing resistance band exercises, complete the exercises that cause no or minimal increase in pain. Avoid exercises that cause sharp or sudden pain or that increase pain from resting. Moving on to radial deviation. Holding the band taut with your right hand, bend your left hand sideways to bring your thumb towards your forearm. If you are feeling an increase in pain with a resistance band exercise, it may be helpful to move back to range of motion or isometric strength exercises for those particular movements. For instance, continuing isometric wrist extension if wrist extension with TheraBand is increasing pain. Continuing with supination. Holding the rod with your left hand and holding the band taut with your right hand, turn your hand out so your palm faces up. When choosing a resistance band, choose a band that allows you to complete around 8 reps, with the last few reps feeling more challenging. As the muscles of our wrist and hand are small, starting off with lighter bands such as yellow or red TheraBand is typically a beneficial starting point. Moving on to pronation, holding the rod with your right hand and holding the band taut with your left hand, turn your hand in. Resistance band exercises are beneficial for building strength for those with rheumatoid arthritis. This is because each exercise targets the muscles that are involved in supporting the joints of the wrist with rheumatoid arthritis. Building strength in these muscles assists to reduce the strain placed on the joints during everyday activities using the wrists and hands. Onto the ball squeeze. Holding the ball or towel in your left hand, squeeze your hand into the ball. When choosing the size of the ball or towel, the aim is to have your hand fit comfortably around the ball. The ball should be slightly soft to allow some movement with squeezing the ball. Join the BHlth with Tess Facebook group to get further support managing pain, building strength and gaining fitness. If you have rheumatoid arthritis and are unsure if you have the right exercise program put together, make sure to get your complimentary Fit with Arthritis self-assessment to identify if you are meeting 10 key components of a successful exercise program. Head to www.BHlth&RehabSc.com to get your copy. Subscribe for more videos like this, and to continue to build your fitness and strength in the meantime, watch these videos right here. See you next time.